With only 2 days left before 11.22 drops, we can't head into the new patch without knowing the 3 best solo carry champions for each role, and that is the key word for this video, carry. These picks we are about to reveal will be able to 1v9 better than any of their counterparts on the 11.22 Summoners Rift, so if you are fed up of playing with in-team teammates and just want to win on your own, make sure to stick around for the whole video, and you will also get the best room page and core items for each of these picks, so let's get into it. Now we're going to start with the top lane, and the first champion I'm going to mention, no surprises here, this is Camille, and because Conqueror is still nerfed and Gore Drinker is still getting net nerfed, despite getting a buff in this patch, Camille with Divine Sundra is the standout top laner. Now as far as your room page goes, very standard with Grass the Undying, which didn't get nerfed, like Conqueror, and after Divine Sundra, you want to be going Ravenous Hydra into Steroid Gaze, and as far as your boots go, Lucidity boots are actually a really good choice, especially if you're snowballing. The ability haste these boots give you, lower that Cho'Gath ultimate you have in the mid to late game, so yeah, if Camille is open in 11.22 guys, make sure you pick her before the enemy team does. Now we've got 2 more Divine Sundra abusers in the top lane here, so the second best solo carry champion for 11.22 in the top lane is Warwick, and you're using Warwick with Flash and Barrier. This is the ultimate 1v1 champion, right, because we have to win lane to be able to 1v9 a game, and Warwick compared to Camille, you might even say that his laning phase is even stronger. Now he might fall off the late game, but who needs a late game when you're going to end games in 15 minutes? Now make sure you copy down this room page for press the attack, and as far as your items go, after Divine Sundra, you can build Blade of the Rune King if you're against someone tanky in the top lane, or you can just go a very standard Titanic Hydra into Steroid Gaze, Thornmail, just something a bit tankier if you're against a fighter or a bruiser. But let's say guys, you don't want to play Camille or Warwick. Well, the next best Divine Sundra abuser and solo carry top lane as a result is Wukong. And I know Wukong hasn't received much attention recently because he's been nerfed that much, but I'm telling you guys, he is picked nowhere near as much as he should be for how good he is right now. Thanks to those Conqueror and Gore Drinker nerfs to pretty much every bruiser and fighter in the top lane, Wukong has become indirectly stronger. So if we think of Darius, Seth, Fiora, Riven, all of these champions have gone down in power, and every other bruiser and fighter has gone up in power, and Wukong is one of these. And as you copy down this room page with Conqueror, you have to think for Wukong, despite Conqueror getting nerfed, you can stack it so quickly. So the 4 seconds you have per stack, this really doesn't affect you because you have the attack speed in your E, and you also have an auto attack reset in your Q. And as for your build after Divine Sundra, we're getting Black Cleaver for the tank shred and the stickiness, and then Steroid Gauge for the tankiness. Now we're going to switch it up guys and go to the bot lane here and talk about the 3 best solo carry champions for AD carries. Now next up we have support. No, I'm joking, there are 3 AD carries, believe it or not, who give you a much better chance of winning lane and getting out of it and carrying a game. Now the first one is Draven. This should be kind of obvious. With Halo Blades you have the strongest early game out of any marksman on League of Legends, and because of this strong early game you can snowball as well as any other champion. Even though you're an AD carry and kind of relying on your support, just because you have so much power by yourself, your support doesn't matter as much as if you're playing someone like Jinx for example, who has to scale with the help of their team. Now as for the rest of the Halo Blades page you should be running, very standard stuff, and as for your items, your first base what you're aiming for is a serrated dirk. Then you're just going to sit on this and build an immortal shield bow. After this, then you complete your serrated dirk by getting a collector and then finishing off your 3 core items with Infinity Edge or Lord Dominic's Regards, depending on if the enemy team has a lot of armor. Now the next solo carry ADC following Draven. This one is a little more specific because I think you have to pick Lucian in the right circumstance. If your support is a Nami for example with a Ledge Q, Lucian is by far the best AD carry. But if your support is someone like Soraka, maybe the kill pressure you have in the bot lane goes down infinitely. So unless your support can really empower you or CC the enemy bot lane, you're not really going to activate your power on Lucian. But if you can pick Lucian in the right situation guys, with the right support, he is just incredibly broken. With Press the Attack, it's so hard to lose trades in the laning phase, and as for your items, we're going Gale Force into Essence Reaver into Infinity Edge. This is very standard, but I also just want to say guys, if you are really fed and if you're the only real damage on your team, please get a Kraken Slag. Gale Force, I know it's so useful for the dash it gives you, it also helps with your ultimate as well and lining this up, but with Kraken Slayer your damage is absurd, and if you are snowballing with Kraken Slayer, it doesn't matter what the enemy team builds to negate your threat, you will one-shot pretty much everyone. Now the last AD carry guys, I would only really pick if you have an engaged support, so I know that some of these are a little circumstantial, but trust me, if you pick Tristana with someone like a Braum, a Thresh, an Alistar, you are going to pop off more than any other AD carry, trust me. Now just like Draven, we're going Hail of Blades for your Keystone, and pretty much the same page, but we're running Alacrity in our secondary tree. Now for your items, we're not going Shield Bow, and we're not going Gale Force like Lucian, we are going Kraken Slayer in every single game, because as Tristana, we don't really need the dash from Gale Force to survive. We have the reset in our W, and we also have our ultimate if we do get in trouble. But I also just want to say guys, for all of these AD carries, you can have even stronger performances by actually not running heal. So if you take Exhaust or Ignite as your second summoner spell with Flash of course, this means that you're less reliant on your support to do some of the work for you. So if you're in a 1v1 with the enemy AD carry, or or if you're just running around the map in the mid to late game and someone jumps on you, if you have exhaust, if you have ignite, you can actually 1v1 anyone on the map. And because these AD carries can fend for themselves, this makes them the 3 best solo carry ADCs for 1122. Now we're going to stay in the bot lane here, guys, and talk about the 3 best solo carry supports, and there's no real surprises here. These champions are either roamers or hard engagers. So the first one is Bard, the best roamer on Summoner's Rift, and you don't really have to do that much, to be honest. As long as you can roam around the map with your portal, you're going to have a positive influence on the game's outcome. Just collect your chines, which are giving you free XP, and you legit cannot go wrong. Now as far as your items go, we're going Locket of the Iron Stellari. This is giving you tankiness, which you kind of need because you can be very squishy and killable. And then we're going Anathema's Chains, and then we're following this up with Frozen Heart, Redemption, Chemtech, Putrefier, whatever it is you need to beat the enemy team and what they're building. Now as far as your boots go, very important to go cooldown boots. You can go Mobies, but because Bard is such a spell reliant support, cooldown boots are always going to be great. But if you are snowballing, feel free to go Mobies. And that's the same for this next champion, guys, and that is Rel, who is the best engaged champion on the Rift, and also counter engage as well. So you can not just protect your AD carry, but also go in and get those 5-man ultimates off and completely wreck the enemy team in teamfights. So if you want to play a support, guys, who has a much bigger presence in the laning phase and overall in teamfights as well, I'd say Rel is definitely the champion to pick. Now same as Bard, we're going Locket of the Iron Stellari, and then following this up with really whatever you want to build. You can get a Thornmail, a Knight's Vow, a Zeke's Convergence, a Zonya's Hourglass, an Abyssal Mask. Seriously, just build any of these. And as far as your boots go, exactly the same as Bard with cooldown boots. This just allows you to get more knockups, stuns off during the teamfights. But let's say you want to play an assassin as a support. Well, how enough does that work? Don't we have to play mid or jungle to play an assassin? No, you can play Pyke as a support, and maybe you don't have the catch and pick potential of a Bard, but here's the thing, guys, as Pyke, you can deal most often the most damage in any game because you're building so offensively. So unlike Bard and Rel, you're going Umbral Glaive into Dustblade into Yomu's Ghostblade. It's all lethality, and your most common boots are mobility boots as well. These enable you to get around the map and actually make use of your lethality, and on Pyke as well, we're also going Hail of Blades as our keystone. So make sure you copy down this rune page, guys, and the core items for all of these supports, and you will have a very worth 1122. Now let's head to the mid lane, guys, and talk about the 3 best solo carry champions in the mid lane for 1122, and none of these should really surprise you. So the best mid laner to lock in for next patch, this is Katarina by a mile as well. This champion, you may have thought Conqueror got nerfed, so Katarina got nerfed. She can dodge this by going Electrocute, and to be honest, this is an even better keystone because it capitalizes on the burst damage you have. With Nash's Tooth, Hextech Rocket Belt, Sonya's Hourglass, and then Sorcerer's Shoes. Can someone name me a scarier champion? Okay, Camille with Divine Sundra, you guys win. But seriously, Katarina with this setup is right behind Camille, and there is a reason why she is still one of the most banned champions, but also one of the best champions. But cheers, I don't want to elo inflate with Katarina. Can you recommend someone else? Well, how about LeBlanc? Now, like Katarina, LeBlanc is banned a lot, I understand, and that's because she is almost as broken as Katarina. With Luden's Tempest and Sorcerer's Shoes, and then Cosmic Drive, these 3 items just complete this champion. The burst damage you have with Luden's and Sorcerer's Shoes because of the magic penetration, and then Cosmic Drive, which is giving you ability haste and movement speed. For an assassin, lower cooldowns and more movement speed. This allows you to get around the map and pick off more kills. And when you pair these items with this rune page with Electrocute, you have all the burst damage you need to one-shot pretty much anyone in the game. But maybe you want to play another assassin in the mid lane, someone who isn't banned as much as Katarina and LeBlanc. Well, the next best solo carry mid laner for you guys is Fizz. So for your items with Luden's Tempest, Sonya's Hourglass, Lichbane, it is still the best build for Fizz, and as long as you get to this 3-item spike in a game, which should be achievable in lower elos, you can take down anyone on the Rift, and the funny thing is, most of the time you don't even need your ultimate. That's how good Fizz is. Now, just like Katarina and LeBlanc, we're taking Electrocute as our keystone, but I'm actually going to give you a different rune page to what most Fizz players are using. So we're going Ingenious Hunter as the last rune in our domination tree, and then we're going Inspiration with Cookies and Time Warp Tonic, starting Corrupting Potion, of course, and this rune page is going to give you the lane sustain you desperately need, guys, and I also want you to run a cooldown shard in your minor runes. Just try this out, trust me, in Master and above, this has a much higher win rate than any other rune page, but not many people are using it. So give this a try in your games and you will understand why Fizz is on this countdown. Now I've got one more role to talk about, guys, and this of course is in the jungle. And the 3 best solo carry junglers for 1122, well, the best of these, this is Talia. Now despite her Q getting nerfed a few patches ago, where your subsequent stones that dealing less damage to monsters, you still have the clear speed, the roaming potential, the damage, the ganks, to go crazy in games. And I'm also going to recommend to you guys to do this clear. You go red to Raptors, and then you finish your Gromp. Why not blue buff though, where you don't hit level 2? Gromp gives more XP than your blue buff, so you hit level 3 after doing your Gromp, and you are on the map as early as anyone, and as Talia, this is really what you want. Hit level 3, get your Q, W, and E, and you are ready to gank and just take over. Now as far as your items go, of course we're going Sorcerer's Shoes with Luden's Tempest, and then after this you can build Zonya's, Void Staff, Morellonomicon, Death Cap, and for your runes you're taking Dark Harvest, and then we're taking Nimbus, Cloak, and Water Walking to increase freestyle roaming potential, and also the movement speed during fights, because this is a really important stat on the Stoneweaver. So if Talia is open in the jungle, guys, locking her in, just probably don't do it if you have an AP mid and top laner. So in those type of games, who you want to play is Nocturne. I'm serious, guys. Nocturne, even though Stridebreaker is nowhere near as OP as it was, it's just Nocturne and Stridebreaker is a combo that is very hard to beat. When you jump on an enemy champion's head and apply Stridebreaker slow, it doesn't really matter if the slow is 40% like it is now. You're still slowing that champion and you're probably going to fear them and kill them. Even in high reloads where Nocturne might struggle because people can actually kite, he still has a positive 50% win rate, and in lower elos, it's like 52-53%. So as you copy down this lethal tempo page and copy the Stridebreaker, Steris Gage, and Guardian's Angel build, thankfully because Conqueror champions have been nerfed, and typically these are the scary invaders who might cuck you in the early game. It's a lot easier now to get to level 6 for free, but let's say you don't want to wait to level 6, you're the most impatient human being in the world, well then Rek'Sai is the champion you have to pick, guys, in the jungle. She has the most deadly early game ganks, is incredibly good in 1v1s, and even though you are running Conqueror in your room page, just like Wukong, you can stack this so quickly so the nerf really doesn't come into play. Now for your items, we're going Prowler's Claw. The active is really useful, especially when you're in your burrowed form, because you can come out of it and knock someone up straight away. Then we're going Edge of Night into Steris Gage. And just like Talia, guys, on Rek'Sai, because you're such a good ganker, if you go Red Raptor's Gromp, you get that level 3 so quickly, and you give yourself the chance to dominate before the enemy champions have even hit level 2. So those are the 3 best solo carry champions for each role for 1122. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more of these for each patch, leave a like down below. Also remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future daily uploads, and also make sure, guys, to check out the website linked in the description and comment section for the best champion courses, guides, VOD analyses on the web. Our challenger players and coaches are uploading up to 20 videos a week for our subs, so make sure you sign up. And until tomorrow's daily upload, this has been the Cheers.